Is there a final question?
Can you tell us a little bit about some of the techniques that you used last night? I don't. Are you like a producer in that way, in that you've got your arsenal of secrets and you'd like to hang on to them, or is that something that you kind of encourage other players to discover for themselves? There's one especially. I think you used a magnet.
A magnet.
It was a very interesting EBO sound.
Yeah, I use an EBO.
It was an EBO?
Yeah.
Okay. I saw a huge magnet on your chair, and I wondered what that might be for. But
a magnet on my chair?
Yeah.
What drugs were you on, baby?
And there was another interesting thing with it's kind of looked like a candy can top, and you kind of pressed into it. You got some really great sounds from it.
Are you talking about the same gig?
Yeah.
No, where were you last night?
Do you know it was probably your quadruple forte. It was the loudest.
Oh, the loud part.
Moment in the
That's
piece.
a candy tin top.
Is it? Just pressed against the strings?
Right. What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
No.
And there was
if you
a
want
bit
the
of
ramifications, you have to have the right kind of candy tin top. Can top, and it has to be not too thick. And you normally have only the pickup on that you're not pressing down on, and a little flanging doesn't hurt, and the saturation of the distortion can be a little higher than you want, and you press into it in a way which is going to release some strings and not others, so you're constantly changing their modulation. So there's a technique involved, but that's what it is.
And these are all things you've developed, I guess, over the years.
Any improviser will be unknowingly or knowingly constantly in process of developing techniques. A technique is simply, I mean, I like to think of it in three ways. You're playing and something happens that you didn't predict. You have immediately a choice. You can either say, that didn't happen, in which case, in the eyes of the perceiver, it becomes a mistake, which is, you know. Or you can say, that's interesting, I wonder how it happened, and try to do it again, in which case it's a nascent technique. And in the third stage, you've figured it out, and you can always do it when you want to do it, in which case it's become a technique. And I think most improvisers who are playing instruments in the same kind of way that I am are always at some different point with one of those three stages of a development. So you have a whole arsenal of things that you really know how to do. From that point of view, I don't think of myself as being experimental. I mean, if I play with a paintbrush on the strings, I've done it for 30 years, I know what I can do with it. It's no different from playing with a pick. If I want that kind of sound, I can pick up the paintbrush, and it will do certain different things. Somebody else with the same paintbrush would probably have another idea and do something else, but this is what I do. At the same time, I am alert to the fact that things happen that I haven't done before, and so then I can, if I want to, draw them in some way, or redefine my technique, or readapt my technique to incorporate whatever it is that they are. So from that point of view, it is experimental. So the both things are in a dynamic relationship with each other.
Can I add something or ask something as a final question about, because you're obviously working with technologies as in paintbrushes and candy top tins and tin or whatever, but have you actually been approached by engineers, so to speak, to
with candy?
Yeah, who might actually be interested in you know, some of your ideas on how they might appropriate that for their own development of technologies? I mean, thinking particularly because here at SARC, I guess we have a lot of sort of, musicians, composers, and sort of engineers trying to work together, or maybe often not actually really working together, but I'm just wondering if that is a way that you may have worked, that someone said, look, I really like what you're doing. Can you sort of
I think liking is always a relative term in the industry, and the people who are making instruments are basically going to be making devices. Are fundamentally working to a market which is usually sold to in the pages of magazines which specialize in people liking heavy metal music or recording in studio jargon. So that's where you see all of these instruments advertised as these magazines, and so there's a very specific market, and it's very much geared towards a commercial use of the work. So people like me who are resolutely non-commercial, I'm not even on their radar. There's no way, there's no reason why they would approach me, unless there was somebody at the place who happened to like my work. But in my experience, what that has tended to mean, like there's a guy who works at Moog, who I can call up and he'll say, oh yeah, sure, I'll do it, because he likes what I do. But that's, you know, that's a total coincidence. It's not a policy matter.
Fred. Thank you very much.